7 players you have to trade for before week 2, and 3 players you have to trade away. We're going to start right away with a player you need to trade for, and it's Trevion Henderson. We go over to the WalterPicks app, and we see that he scored 11 fantasy points in week 1. Yards per carry, 5.4. Rush share, 27%. And we go to the game log, and we look at what he did in this game. You see his rush yards, not great. Receptions, 6 receptions. We go to his snaps, not great. All of this is not great, and that's exactly why we want to trade for him. The receptions, obviously great. The yards per carry, obviously great. When he touched the ball, he was the best back for the Patriots. So right now is the perfect time to buy low. It was his very first game, and this snap percentage, you need the WalterPicks app. You get it in my profile with code NOBS. You can see the snap share, not great. That's going to improve as he gets better, as he gets more experience as a rookie. So now is the time to buy low on Trevion Henderson, and I'd pay a lot to get him. I would, because he's going to be amazing. As soon as that rush share and that target share increase, he's going to be one of the best backs in fantasy football. So buy low while you can. Another buy low running back is Dylan Samson. And I know Quidshad Junkins is coming back, and he scored 17 fantasy points. So how is he a buy low? Just the fact that Judkins is coming back, a lot of people are scared about Samson. But the thing that I like, the reason I think you should add him, is because they drafted 2 running backs for a reason. Jerome Ford was not even a factor in this week 1 game. And Dylan Samson had 8 receptions, RB3. And the Cleveland Browns are going to need that. They did not draft Judkins and Samson for them to play the same exact role. Samson will be the pass-catching back, and it looks like that's going to be a major part of this offense. Now, the rush share, it's probably not going to be there as much. Quidshad Junkins probably will take more of that rush share, but Dylan Samson could still have about 35% and get the majority of the receiving work, not Jerome Ford, which makes Samson a good buy low target as soon as Judkins is projected to come back. Now, our first trade away is Keon Coleman. He was amazing in this game for the Bills. 25.2 fantasy points, wide receiver 2 on the week. But the thing that scares me the most is, let's go over to the game log. 8 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Amazing. He had 75 snaps. That is the problem. The Bills just don't need to run that many offensive plays on a weekly basis, especially not rushing. He had a 25% target share. And I'll go over to Josh Allen just to look at the Bills here. I'll go over to Josh Allen, and we'll look at his pass attempts. 46 pass attempts. They're just not going to need to pass that much on a weekly basis. And then you go to last year, 30 pass attempts per game last year. And they're going to be a lot closer to that 30 pass attempts per game when they face easier competition. The Ravens getting off to a big lead is probably the most pass attempts they'll have this entire season. So when a guy has an amazing game in the highest pass volume game of the season, that's exactly when it's time to sell high. Now, obviously, start high when you're trying to make a trade. I'd go for Ladd McConkey. I think Keenan Allen will be better over the course of the season. I think there's a lot of guys who will be better over the course of the season. But obviously, he was amazing week 1. I think a lot to do with the 46 pass attempts, the fact they had to pass the entire game. And when they're ahead in games, when they're up by 14 points, it's just going to be a whole lot of Ray Davis, a whole lot of the running backs. It's going to be a whole lot of James Cook, of course, who's going to be leading the way. He's been great as well. I just don't think Keon Coleman can keep up the success that he had week 1, which was literally the perfect storm for the most amount of volume he'll probably have for the entire year. We're back to the buy lows with Mike Evans. Target share was solid, 26%, still had good targets. Catch rate, not great. I'm going to go over to the game log here, and we're going to look at his 5 receptions, 50 yards, not bad. He had 8 targets. That's great. Emeka Egbuka had the touchdowns in this game. They have new players. They've got a lot of injuries. K. Dotton was hurt as well. So a lot of focus on Mike Evans in this game from the defense. So I'm not super worried about him. I think that this is a great time to buy low. He didn't have that touchdown. He still had good target share. The Bucs are still a great pass-heavy offense. They did not run the ball well. Bucky Irvin was not great on the ground. So they're definitely going to need to be passing this year. And we look at their schedule, Houston, the New York Jets, the Eagles. You know, it's a tougher schedule. But when we get out to the fantasy football playoffs, you face Arizona. You face the Saints in the first week of the playoffs, or that may be the last week of the season. You face Atlanta, another good matchup where he scored 10 points. He'll probably be even better there. Carolina, great matchup. Miami, great matchup. So these are games that maybe they will run a lot. That's why he's probably projected a little bit less than some of these early games. But they will also be scoring a ton of points. And that's where Mike Evans will be going for that 1,000-yard season as well. So I do like Mike Evans as a good buy low now because he's just going to keep getting stronger and stronger as the season goes on. Now, we don't normally do this, but this is a rare buy high moment, I think, for Javonte Williams. He was RB5. He had 2 touchdowns, but it looks like that's going to be a key part of Dallas' strategy. You see in the game, they highlighted that over the last few seasons, the Cowboys have spent 3 of their last first-round picks on offensive linemen, and it really showed. They had a great push in this game. I mean, as soon as the quarterback snapped the ball, their offensive line was moving forward, not backwards. And in the red zone especially, Javonte Williams got first crack at the touchdowns. That's why he scored 2 touchdowns. So I do think you can get him for kind of cheap right now because a lot of people, they paid like a 10th round pick. Now, week 1 has established draft value does not matter. And I think Javonte Williams is someone I'd try to trade for right now because I do think he's going to be heavily involved in this team. He's the clear red zone back for the team. And as long as it continues to be that way, he's going to be good for fantasy football. You see week 1, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, 54 yards. 54 yards, not bad. He had 2 receptions. That's not bad either. He had a lot of snaps. He was out there 77% of the time. He ran 24 routes, which was awesome. 15 rush attempts. The volume is great. So I think Javonte Williams is someone you could trade for if you can get him at a deal. Don't go spending super high to get this guy, but I would send a couple offers. See if you can get Javonte Williams for your team this week. You're probably not surprised that Zay Flowers is my second sell high. This is another game where the Ravens, they are not going to need to pass as much as they did in this game. And they didn't even pass that much, but you see almost 50% target share for Zay Flowers. Last season, Malik Neighbors led the league with 35%. So obviously, this is not going to be sustainable. This is not going to happen. They barely targeted the tight ends at all. They ran the ball like crazy. It just was a crazy game for both these teams. And we go to the game log here. You'll see 7 receptions, 143 yards. He had 9 targets. That's just not going to happen on a weekly basis. This team just doesn't throw the ball that much. So that's one thing to watch out for with these guys that have an amazing week 1 is what was the game script. Most week, the Ravens will be up by 1 million. They are not going to need to pass at all, and they're going to be dominating their teams, where this week it was just a high-scoring affair. They really had to try to stop Derrick Henry. He's going to have some good spike weeks. We go back to last year. I think that was his best game ever, honestly. But we go back to last year, and you see 22, 22, 19, 18, 29, but a whole lot of nothing here as well, where he really hurt your team. And that's why I'm trying to sell high. He is not going to be a consistent option. He's going to have some great weeks. He's going to win you some weeks for sure, but he's also going to lose you some weeks as well. I mean, last year against Buffalo, he had 2 points. Against Pittsburgh, 12 points. The Chargers, 11 points. He did have some good games in here as well. He had a great game against Denver, which is kind of a surprise against Denver. Great pass defense. But overall, he's going to be so up and down. I'd be much happier trading for a more consistent player. Now, I would try to buy low on Ken Walker because you may be able to buy really low. Zach Charbonnet stealing his touchdown, especially early in the game. The rush share for Ken Walker, not good as well. I honestly think that he's a good buy low. We look at, he logged a full practice. That was 6 days ago. Practice in full. He could sit. He was back to full pads 3 weeks ago. So he's been in and out, just missing practices, missing time here. And it's not surprising that kind of lingered into the regular season. So with that in mind, I think he's a good buy low. I'd send a couple trade offers, see what you can get him for. You know, maybe you have to give up a starter for a starter, but I do think Ken Walker is a good buy low right now. He'll probably get better over the course of the season, especially if he's still dealing with a little bit of injury. Everyone overreacts after week 1, but it really seems like, why would he be so much worse than last year? Let's go back to last year. His rush share was 62.7%, RB6. So really for me, not much has changed here for him to go to RB 32, 38% rush share. Aside from maybe he's still a little bit hurt. Maybe he's a little out of shape because when you have a foot injury, hard to run, hard to stay in shape to the same level that you might need to be. So I think Kenneth Walker is a great buy low candidate this week. See what you can trade him for. Don't send the house. He's still a little bit risky after that week 1. Maybe Zach Charbonnet takes a little bit more this year. But last season being RB6 in rush share, going to 38%, that just doesn't seem like it's going to hold up. So I do think Kenneth Walker is someone you should try to buy low. We've got another buy high. A lot like Javonte Williams, I think Keenan Allen can keep this up throughout the season. His target share, 29%. Let's go into the target shares here and just take a look here. I'm going to find Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is right here at 29%. Where is Ladd McConkey? Ladd McConkey is down here. He led the team in target share. I think that will continue throughout the season. He may not be number 1 every year, every week, but it's going to stay around this number. And we go to the game log here, and we see 7 receptions. He got the touchdown. He had 10 targets. This offense looked amazing. So I would try to send a couple trades to get Keenan Allen for your team. I think Keenan Allen deserves to be in your starting lineup this week. He proved it week 1. Facing the Raiders week 2, I think he's a must-start player and someone that you should try to trade for now, because if he has another good week, there's no way you can get him for your team. If you trade for him now, you can probably get him the cheapest he's going to be for the entire season. We've got one more sell and one more buy, but before we get there, I got to let you know about the Tradealyzer in the WalterPicks app. You can download this in the profile with code NOBS and check out all these trades and make sure they're winning trades. It'll tell you who the best player is. It'll give you the total value for each trade. And if you use the free trial to get the premium, it'll also tell you how many points you'll gain each week or lose each week if it's a bad trade versus the gaining if it's a good trade. So make sure you check that out in the profile. Sell Aaron Jones. It's going to be nice and simple here. He was simply not the best back on this team. Jordan Mason looked way better, way more efficient, way more explosive. Aaron Jones did score the touchdown, which is exactly why you may be able to sell a little bit better than you would have if he did not score the touchdowns. Right now, you have to send some trade offers away for Aaron Jones. Maybe go for Ken Walker. Maybe go for some of the other guys. Maybe go for Keenan Allen even. Maybe some of the other guys I mentioned in this video, because this will be Jordan Mason's backfield by the end of the season. Aaron Jones, unless he scores a touchdown every week, which is just not going to happen, the weeks he doesn't score touchdowns, he will not be fantasy viable. It does not look like an option when Jordan Mason looks so much better in this offense. So sell while you can for Aaron Jones. Our final buy of the video is RJ Harvey. And you're going to see a lot of similarities to what we looked at with Ken Walker. His rush share was only 20%. His fantasy points, 7.9 still. Yards per carry, 11.7. He had a big run, which really helped them out. And we go to the game log here, 1 reception. He just wasn't majorly involved. Snaps, 22. Snap percentage, 28%. Great to have in the WalterPicks app, the advanced game logs. Rush share, 20. Rush attempts, 6 rush attempts. He's going to get more involved. This is his first game, a lot like Trevin Henderson, a lot like Kenneth Walker, a lot like RJ Harvey. I know Kenneth Walker is not a rookie, but they're going to get more involved throughout the season. So now is the time to buy. He's a rookie. It's his first game. They faced a tough rush defense in a close game. He's going to get more opportunities when they get bigger leads, when they face these teams, when they face weaker run defenses. So RJ Harvey, a must buy at the moment.